Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Invasive Species. We're nearing the end of this bracket, and today's Hoenn contender in Fire Red is going to be a fun one. Kecleon is pretty unique in quite a few ways, and the fact it's one of my favorites from the Hoenn decks has me pumped for this run. Oh, and while the rules for the series are detailed in great length in the description below, here's a quick recap. Only Kecleon in battle, we run on max IVs, we choose the hidden power, nature, and ability if applicable, and we get a single egg move. Let's start off by checking out Kecleon's base stat total. I gotta say, these stats are a lot better than what we've been using as of late. That 40 base speed, though, is gonna be a problem at the end game. But that base 120 special defense is never gonna stop being useful. That might be the difference maker. Overall, not too shabby. How about our level up moves? Now, that's what I like to see. We have a pretty good early game special move in the form of Feint Attack, so we don't have to worry about Brock. And even better, early game rival battles won't be nearly as annoying since that move in particular bypasses Sand Attack. Psybeam at level 12 means the early game Nidoran fights won't be a problem either since there's no fear of Poison Point. And this coverage is pretty great, and it gets even better. We have a ton of great options on here, and while our physical attack is better by a fair bit, our special attack is okay enough to where we can make use of a lot of these moves as well. Now you might be thinking, why does this particular Pokemon have access to so much coverage? Well, I'm not going to put words in Game Freak's mouth, but I can pitch my own theory here. The ability, Color Change, turns Kecleon into the type of the last move it was hit by. So if we were hit by a Vine Whip, we become Grass until we're hit with a move of another typing. This will give us a ton of strategy for each major battle, but that also means that because we're slow, let's say that we use Slash as a normal type move, and then we get turned into Fire type, we're going to lose out on the same type attack bonus from Slash until we're hit with a normal move. Kecleon's speed makes sense for this ability. It's a reactionary Pokemon, and because we have such great coverage, we have lots of fun and creative tools to help us get through the game. I gotta say though, our choice of egg moves is kind of a dud. Trick is cool, but it will only ever be useful in the end game, as well as stealing items from the very few random trainers like the Black Belt in the Fighting Dojo. But we can also learn Thief via TM, so it's not really all that useful for us in the long run. Disable is laughable. And while I doubt we'll make use of it, Magic Coat is kinda neat. It deflects a status move that's used on us that very turn, so if we're hit by Thunder Wave, if we use Magic Coat that same turn, we send it back at the attacker. It's useful, but again, I don't think we're going to get much, if any, mileage out of it. Ah well, we got more than enough at our disposal to help Kecleon in its journey through Kanto. As for Brock, well, not a whole lot to this fight. We're going to spam Feint Attack, and because we're slower than Onix, it's not going to go for Rock Tomb, so we take very little damage. As we enter Cerulean City, we're going to start off with our usual little rigamortem here. Go in the backyard, get that rare candy, because apparently we're allowed to trespass in this universe. We actually have a great matchup against both major battles here in Cerulean City, and we're actually going to go for Misty, because we have Feint Attack, a super effective move. And Water Pulse can turn us into water types, so let's see if this was the right call. Unsurprisingly, Staryu is faster, goes for hard, and we get a free Psybeam, deal a good bit of damage there. The Water Pulse turns us water type. Yeah, I think we're good to go until Starmie comes out. Confused off a Psybeam, waste the Super Potion, and we crit. Oh yeah. Now check this out, because we're water type, Starmie's gonna go for Swift, a much weaker attack. The Feint Attack deals just under half. We get turned back into water type, or go for Psybeam just to try to keep it out of our cover range. Turns out that was the right call. We get hit by Swift, we tank it, Feint Attack takes out Starmie. That just might be the easiest Misty battle we've had in this series up to this point. Will the Cerulean rival be as easy? Well, I have a good feeling about it because, again, we have Feint Attack, so we don't gotta worry about Pidgeotto, who is the best Pokemon on his team in this fight. Turn 1, Psybeam, we're actually faster. We get it by Sand Attack, and not a problem. Let's just switch to Feint Attack and keep on spamming it. Well, Kecleon is very easily able to outmuscle Pidgeotto here, and did I mention we're in the medium slow group, so we're leveling up even faster off these pretty much free fights. Love it. We're at 50 hit points as Abra comes out, the scariest member of his roster with Teleport. Ooh, maybe you should have given him Thief or something. I mean, you find the TM for it back in Mount Moon, my guy. And as Bulbasaur comes out, we're going to go for Psybeam, and unfortunately don't one-shot. We get put to sleep, hit with Vine Whip, and we did get turned Grass-type. Turns out my little ad-lib example at the beginning of the video actually panned out. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty confident this is going to be smooth sailing, because Misty, in my opinion, is the hardest fight up until you get out of Rock Tunnel. A case in point here with the SSN rival battle, because we're going to be a fair bit higher level here. The thing about this battle is that we fought a lot of trainers along the way, including some mandatory battles, and his team is hardly stronger. Combine that with the fact that we have secret power and get the same type attack bonus from it. There's not a whole lot to say about this fight, but something pretty interesting does happen here. Well, a couple of things actually. Despite the level gap, Raticate turns out is still faster than us. It only goes for a tail whip though, and that's an obvious one-shot with secret power. And if Raticate is faster, so too is Kadabra. I'm just button mashing at this point, and Kadabra goes for disable and disable secret power so we don't get to attack. So we'll switch to Feint Attack. Kadabra goes for Confusion, changes us to Psychic type. And although it's special in Gen 3, one Feint Attack does the job. Last up on the SSN Rivals roster is Ivysaur. Now watch this. We're gonna go for Psybeam. And we deal enough damage for a one-shot. I promise you that was 99.1% because of the fact that we were Psychic type. And we got the same type attack bonus from Psybeam. While we're in Vermilion City, might as well go ahead and battle Lieutenant Surge. We defeat him, we get access to Fly as a field move when we acquire his badge. And now Voltorb is faster, goes for Shockwave or Electric type now. We go for Secret Power and one-shot it. Oh, never mind, no we don't, but that means Surge uses a Super Potion here instead of on Raichu, so that's actually better. Alright, down goes Voltorb, out comes Pikachu. We are faster, Secret Power, one-shot. Last up is Raichu. It is faster. It ends up going for Double Team, surprisingly. Secret Power does over half, so we should be good. And we do not miss with Secret Power. It's interesting that he didn't go for Thunder Wave. Maybe it's because we were considered Electric type? Although Raichu was faster, so that probably has something to do with it as well. Anyway, Giovanni time. He leads off with Onix. Psybeam doesn't do nearly as much as I thought, but thankfully Brick Break is weak to it. Bye-bye. Rhyhorn's up next. He goes for Brick Break. We almost one-shot it. We get hit by Tail Whip, so no problem. We're going into the Kangaskhan fight with full health. Speaking of that battle, it doesn't really matter what we go for because it goes for Fake Out, so we flinch. Bite causes us to flinch and turns us Dark type. And we flinch again. At least we resist this one. It goes for Bite again. We do not flinch. Brick Break does awesome damage. We get hit with Bite again. No flinch. Break Brick finishes her off. And now, given the choice, we could go for Erica, or we could go back to Lavender Tower and battle the rival in the tower, and I'm thinking that's where we should go. At least then we can get the Poke Flute in case we want to skip over Erica for the time being. And now this is the last battle where our rival will have Pidgeotto, and that's kind of a shame because I like being faster and even better one-shotting with Slash. Next up is Gyarados. It has Intimidate, so our attack is down by one stage. Unfortunately, Slash doesn't crit. Still deals great damage. Thrash also deals a fair bit to us. But a second Slash takes it down. And this fight is pretty much smooth sailing from here, and I can go ahead and take this opportunity to explain why I chose Bulbasaur for the rival starter. We're super effective against all three. I just thought that having two Intimidate users would be the most threatening for Kecleon. Don't forget that its physical attack is a lot better than its special. When we take the late game into consideration, that's going to be a serious detriment for us, especially because we have a base 40 speed. But we can worry about the endgame later on. Let's go ahead and breeze through Erica real fast. Slash doesn't one-shot Victory Bell, but it misses with Stun Spore. That is awesome. The Victory Bell goes down in 2 hits after Erica heals, and Tangela sets up Ingrain, so down it goes too. And oh man, at level 40, I completely forgot that Kecleon learned Substitute. We'll go and get rid of Magic Cut. We haven't been using it anyway. Fans of the channel know exactly what to expect from here. So, as Vileplume comes out, we'll go and set up Substitute. It goes for Stun Spore, doesn't work. Slash, Stun Spore, Psybeam. Get out of here, Vileplume. Well, Koga's next. We'll go ahead and set up Substitute, and... wow, okay, he went for Sludge. I didn't expect that. Coughing is no problem aside from that. Next up is Muck. We're gonna go and go for Psybeam. And nah, just kidding. Too tempted by that Slash heightened critical hit chance. Muck has a better special defense anyway. Koga heals, we go for Slash again. Sludge changes us to Poison type. That's actually quite good for this fight. Koga uses a second Hyper Potion. We keep going for Slash, and we finally get a crit, though we're at 28 health going forward. Coughing 2 is a one-shot with Psybeam. As Wheezing comes out, we go for Slash, and that crit was pitiful, wow. That Psybeam crit was nice, but it's because of color change changing us to Poison type that saved us from getting finished off. Okay, if Koga was that difficult, we have to level up for the Silph rival, so if you'll excuse me, we're gonna go get a few level ups and then fight him. And hey, 3 hours, 3 minutes? Not bad. As usual, the Silph rival leads off with Pidgeot, and despite being 12 levels higher, we're slower. Still, we only take 40 damage before it goes down. Gyarados is next and crits us with Bite, so we're Dark-type again. That's actually pretty great because he does have Alakazam here on his team. Despite Intimidate, however, we are able to two-shot Gyarados with Ancient Power. Growlithe's Intimidate drops our attack by 2 stages, but still, it's also a one-shot. Next is Alakazam. It only has Future Sight as an attacking move, and we take it out with 2 slashes. And as Venusaur comes out, we're going to set up Substitute. I'm actually surprised that we're faster. It's locked into Sleep Powder, so we can take it out with 2 Ice Beams. Now, we do have Giovanni to contend with, but he's going to be super easy. He's going to talk right over that fight. Now, that Silph rival battle really is a sign of things to come. That Pidgeot, unless we have a significant level lead on it, is going to be faster than us for the remaining 2 battles we have to fight it. That's very unfortunate because if we're slower than it in the final battle, it has both Feather Dance and Sand Attack, which are super annoying in solo runs. Now, as we defeat Giovanni and clear out Silph, we're going to go and battle Sabrina since we are here in Saffron City. I don't think she's going to be that difficult. We are slow, but she's frail and we hit hard, so we should be able to tank the attacks. I will say something really interesting does happen in that battle. Kadabra surprisingly leads off with Future Sight, not a problem for us. We one-shot it with Slash. Next up is Mr. Mime, but goes down to a crit. She sends out Venomoth next, but we have Ancient Power for that one-shot. Now, notice as Future Sight hits us, we don't become Psychic type. Yeah, that's a fun little Gen 3 quirk. And yeah, Alakazam goes down real easy. But in Generation 3, Future Sight actually ignores typing. In my Fire Red Wally run, I had to use that on Gardevoir against the champion's Tyranitar. If team battles interest you, be sure to check that out on my channel. Blaine's up next, and as you prepare for him, keep in mind that we have base 120 special defense. Combine that with color change, and we might be able to tank Fire Blast pretty well. And hey, speaking of tanking, as Growlithe comes out hits us with Intimidate, he still can't tank 1 Ancient Power. Blaine sends out Ponyta next, and to my great surprise, we are faster, and unsurprisingly, we one-shot it with Ancient Power. Rapidash is out next, is faster, hits us with Fire Blast for a lot less damage than I was expecting. Unfortunately, we don't deal nearly as much damage with Ancient Power either. But yeah, because we're Fire-type now, the follow-up Fire Blast did absolutely pitiful damage. Last is Arcanine, so we have to deal with a second attack drop from Intimidate, and it is faster, hits us with Takedown, so we're Normal-type again. We deal a fair bit under half with Ancient Power, but check it out, we get the stat boost, a +1 to all of our stats, 10% chance every time we use this move. And we get a second one, oh man, that is awesome. We're out of Ancient Powers, and Fire Blast brings us back to being Fire-type. So Blaine goes to heal, we're gonna go for Slash, sadly no same type because we're Fire-type. We go for another Slash, Arcanine goes for Takedown and misses, that probably is what got us this victory. I'm surprised that first attempt went as well as it did. Between that Takedown miss and 2 Ancient Power procs, yeah, we got super lucky. If this is your first video, first off, welcome, it's great to have you along for the ride. I said that about Blaine though because typically in this series, Blaine is the most difficult gym leader in our Fire Red runs. And as you can see, we clear out the Sevials, get the Rare Candy, get the Power Point up, and we can go battle Giovanni for the 3rd and final time. And yeah, I ain't worried about this fight. Yeah, his team's not that bad, but because he leads off with a Rhyhorn, we're gonna set up Substitute. This Rhyhorn just loves going for Scary Face. Thanks to that, we one-shot Nidoqueen and Nidoking with Ice Beam. Dugtrio's faster, and we tanked that Earthquake. I didn't see that coming. Turns out we did not need that Substitute after all. That was a wasted turn, but better safe than sorry, right? Now we have to battle our rival one more time before we make our way to Victory Road and the League. How will we fare? I'm not so sure. Well, Pidgeot is faster, hits us with Feather Dance, that's -2 to our attack. And he changes us to Flying type before we take him out. And as Rhyhorn comes out, I set up Substitute, not thinking much of it, but boy was that a mistake. He goes for a Rock Blast, and because we're Flying type, the Substitute gets destroyed, and we get changed to Rock type ourselves, but our health is, well, it's in the red. Now, we are able to one-shot it, but as Gyarados comes out, yeah, we have no chance. Now, it's pretty much guaranteed that Pidgeot is going to make us into Flying type for at least part of this battle, so it's best that we just take it out as quickly as possible, and we're going to take out Rhyhorn with Ice Beam. No sense in setting up that Substitute there. And likewise, being Water type from Gyarados is bad because he does have Venusaur. What I found very interesting about this fight is that color change is just as much of a weakness for us as it is a strength. Now, throughout the run, you could say that our poor speed has been more of a minor thorn in our side, but as we get ready for the toughest battles in the game, That 40 base speed goes from being a minor thorn on our side to a serious problem. Now, of course, if we got an ancient power boost at any point during this battle, that might be a difference maker, although if we're weakened and we're water type by the time we fight Venusaur, it might not make a difference. Now in this attempt here, we crit Pidgeot on the second turn. That crit on the first turn would have been very nice. The Gyarados will inevitably change us into water types. We want to take it as fast as possible, but we want to save ancient power for Growlithe too. Now check this out. We get hit by Razor Leaf, we're not crit, and we survive. We're turned into Grass type, and because of that, we have 6 health left as we take out the Venusaur. We one-shot Growlithe and get the Ancient Power boost. Thanks to that, we outspeed Alakazam, and a critical hit for good measure. Before we tackle Victory Road, gonna go back to Viridian City, use the Poké Center, and I'll see you guys at the League. Now, I'm thinking that we're not gonna use all of our rare candies here. I want to see how we measure up without leveling up too high. I figure level 65 will be a good start. We'll use that power point up on return. That's our strongest attack. Now, we have a pretty good matchup against Lorelei here. She has a lot of ice types, and we have Ancient Power, which we're going to use against Dugong here. And gotta say, the damage is pretty solid. Surf turns us to water type. Perfect, down it goes. Lorelei sends out Cloyster next. I'm surprised by that. We're going to go for return because I don't want Protect eating up our Ancient Powers. Once Cloyster sets up Hail, it likes to spam Protect, and it does have Dive, which it will go for here. Won't deal much damage to us. But once Hail wears off, she'll want to set it back up again. That's when we go for Ancient Power. Sadly, no boost. Now, as Slowbro hits us with Yawn, we're going to set up Substitute. After another failed Yawn, she goes for Surf, deals very little damage to us thanks to Color Change. Return takes it down. Thanks to Substitute, we are protected from Lovely Kiss, and out comes Lapras. Body Slam destroys our Substitute. Body Slam paralyzes us and brings us back to normal type. We deal great damage to Lapras, but unfortunately, we're just too weak and get taken out. So we can see a pretty clear path to victory. This is going to be a little difficult. We're going to have to get a little bit lucky here. Absolutely, we're going to need Substitute for Jinx. It's faster, has not just Lovely Kiss, but Attract, which Substitute will block. While this is difficult and will take a couple of tries, I don't think we have to rare candy up anymore here. And I certainly don't want to backtrack and battle more trainers because although our level is a little on the high side, Kecleon's time is quite the opposite. And hey, speaking of luck, critical hit return one-shots the Slowbro. Lapras hits us with Confuse Ray, we hit ourselves, Body Slam paralyzes us, we got the Sherry Berry, we take it out with Ancient Power. Out comes Jinx and we get locked into Attract and put to sleep, but thanks to Color Change making us Ice type, we survive one shot with Return. Next up is Bruno, and despite our type disadvantage, I'm not that worried. We set up Substitute, and we can eat that Rock Tomb, so no speed drop for us. And thanks to that, we have no fear of counter, although we one-shot Hitmonchan anyway, which means as Hitmonlee comes out, yeah, we're gonna one-shot that too. It's a bit more frail. It was faster though, so we're gonna have to set up Substitute against Machamp, who loves going for Scary Face. Cross Chop destroys our Substitute, but no problem. Second return takes it out, and the other Onix, yeah, we got Ice Beam for that one. Wasn't too worried about Bruno. Agatha, though, she has some pretty fast Pokemon, and we can only hit her team with so many moves. And she leads off with a Gengar that's pretty annoying. It is faster, but it goes for a double team, giving us a free turn to set up Substitute, but as you can see, the more it builds its evasion, the more we're going to miss. We only have Ancient Power and Ice Beam to hit her Ghosts with. And the thing about Gengar is that it only has Shadow Punch as an attacking move, which won't affect us because we're normal type, so it's never going to go for it. It's a lot easier to lock it into Confuse Ray and Toxic, but with that many double teams set up, yeah, we aren't hitting squat. But if you thought that was bad, watch the second attempt right here and get ready for some of the most asinine RNG you have ever seen in your life. Check out how many times we miss thanks to a single double team. I had to do a double take while I was editing this. I counted 5 times in a row before we hit. And then, of course, we miss again. Gengar was perfectly locked into the whole Gen 3 love status gimmick we love using here in this series. And we still had to reset because we missed that many times, not enough power points for the other ghosts. Yeah, earlier I had mentioned that Kecleon's 40 base speed was going to be a serious obstacle for it, and it's really on full display in this battle here. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, hey Roz, why not teach Shadow Ball because Kecleon can learn it? Well, yeah, sure. But Shadow Ball in this game costs a lot of money. That in and of itself isn't the problem, it's the fact that we would have to spend another $80,000 to buy Ice Beam to replace Shadow Ball after this fight. And couple that with the fact we have to convert that money into casino coins to buy them because they're locked behind the game corner. Yeah, that time really does add up. And it's right around this time where I'm like, you know what, we have rare candies, let's use some of them, not all. So we're going to be level 76 on this attempt here. And another reason we want to be behind the substitute is because the second Gengar has Hypnosis, which of course, couple that with something like Dream Eater or Nightmare, and we're in for a pretty bad time. Now, if we get changed into Flying type by Golbat, not the worst thing ever, but that also means we can get hit by the Ghost moves. This fight really is nothing but luck unless we get to a higher level to outspeed, and that's going to really hurt Kecleon's score. Nice punctuation on that luck, too, as we froze the Haunter. Now, Agatha took me about 25 minutes in real time to defeat. As for Lance, I don't think he's going to be that bad. I mean, Aerodactyl's going to be faster, but other than that, I can't see this being a problem. Bite makes us Dark type, and as Gyarados is left with a Sliver, it goes for Hyper Beam, so we're Normal type again. I go for Ancient Power to finish it, but no boost. Ancient Power brings Aerodactyl to about half. We get changed to Flying type with Wing Attack, and then it goes for Ancient Power, changes us to Rock type, but our Ancient Power gives us the boost. And obviously with that, we're going to one-shot the two Dragonair. I don't think we were ever slower than them, though. We might have been slower than Dragonite, but thanks to the Ancient Power boost, we should not be now. And it turns out we're not. That's good because we had 27 health left when we won that fight, so a little tougher than I thought, but a first try is a first try. Nice, clean victory. As for the champion, not feeling too confident about this, but the only way to go is forward, so let's do our best, I guess. And you guessed it, Pidgeot is faster, hits us with Sand Attack, so Substitute's not going to help us all that much. We do miss the first Ancient Power and then get turned into Flying type, but we take it out in 2 Ancient Powers. Thanks to Reflect, Alakazam is left with an absolute sliver. The champion heals, we miss, we get hit by Psychic, Special Defense drop, and we're turned into Psychic type. We're at 86 health for the next Pokemon. I decide to go for Ice Beam in hopes of a Fluke Freeze. We do crit, we get hit by Hydro Pump, changing us to Water type. Reflects down, Gyarados is down, out comes Venusaur. Oh, we crit, nice. But we miss Rhydon, and it's Goodnight Irene. Now, you'll see me teach Thunderbolt, and I actually meant to teach Water Pulse over Substitute, but I forgot because I had a bit of tunnel vision, and we're gonna pay for that dearly in the second attempt here. But check this out. We are Flying type, and he sends out Rhydon. Although Substitute does block 2 Scary Faces, Rock Tomb, yeah, we're done. Okay, and now we're going to teach Water Pulse, that way we have a surefire way of taking out that Rhydon. I bet you guys thought we were gonna substitute our way to victory. No siree. What would be really awesome is if we got changed into Water type by Gyarados, and then we could keep that Water typing all the way to Arcanine. The problem with that is we no longer have Ice Beam to deal with Venusaur. Probably should have gotten rid of Ancient Power, but we didn't. Being Flying type is actually very important because as we take out Pidgeot, that means we're going to instant KO Rhydon as well. And Alakazam making a Psychic type is great because it's faster, so it's going to get a second hit on us so we take less damage. And Gyarados is a one-shot with Thunderbolt. And despite 2 Intimidates, we deal decent enough damage to Arcanine, but we're taking quite a beating ourselves. Despite that, however, we're just a bit too low on health and don't deal enough damage to Venusaur. So we're going to need another Ancient Power boost. Pidgeot and Rhydon are pretty much freebies at this point, and we actually get the Ancient Power boost against Alakazam, which is absolutely massive. Our attack is +1, so Intimidate will just cancel that out. As Arcanine comes up, we're going to trade Ancient Power, Extreme Speed, and Flamethrower. And booyah, Ancient Power boost. The next one takes out Arcanine, and out comes Venusaur. Venusaur goes for Sunny Day, but it doesn't matter. Even if it went for Solar Beam, it only took 2 returns to take it down. I gotta tell you guys, this run was an adventure. And Kecleon had a pretty good time in Kanto, although that Blaine battle was extremely lucky. It really was from Blaine onward where we could see our low speed really becoming a detriment to us. It was certainly more of a detriment than all of our advantages put together. You know what they say, quality over quantity, except like the Antichrist version of it. Level 79 and 4 hours 56 minutes is quite the lopsided result. Level 79 is the absolute cusp of C tier, almost D. 4 hours 56 minutes is an S tier finish, but with how lucky the finale of the game was, I gotta put Kecleon in the B tier. Agatha and the champion required pure luck to get by. At any rate, Porygon is next up in Pokemon Ruby. I'll see you guys there. Later.